Hi there, welcome to this video. I am Natasha, and first off, I'd like to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you for joining, and I hope your time on my channel is time well spent. Today I am going to do a karmic reading for you. I have 4 choices for you here. At first choice we have the Amber Andara, the second choice is the Golden Andara. The third choice is the Blue Andara. And the fourth is the Clear Andara. Now I leave a link in my description box for those of you who are interested in purchasing these crystals. I link them to the site where I found these, and that is the site of Elemental Ascension. As I said, the link will be down in the description box for you if you're interested in purchasing any of this type of crystals. Now, before I start the reading, I am going to explain a bit about what I consider karma. Karma is usually the result of your actions, and these actions could have been in a previous life or in this life, and I am not going to distinguish about that, but I suspect it will become clear in the reading whether it is a past life karma or a present life karma. Also, karma isn't always negative. Sometimes it is simply the result of whatever situation you are in or whatever actions you did in that particular situation. So this is not about judging anyone. This is not about trying to figure out if you are being punished for actions in your previous life. I don't consider karma punishment. I consider it merely in the sense of cause and effect. The cause are your actions and the effect is the karma. And how that turns out in your life and how you are going to deal with it. So to determine the karmic influence, I will be using these 2 tarot decks. This one is a deck that I don't often use. It is the tarot of the gnomes. It has quite different interpretations, and I think they might fit this reading quite well. Also, I have 2 oracles this time, not as many as I usually have, but these 2 have very powerful messages and healing messages as how to deal with that karmic load that you are carrying. So this was my introduction. Let me begin to prepare the stacks for each choice, and I'll see you back in that reading of your choice. Before I start, I do want to note that you can of course choose a stone for yourself, for your own karma, but you can also do it for other people and see what comes up in that reading. So I'll let you decide which one of these Andaras will represent your choice, and I will continue on to the reading. So this is the first choice, the Amber Andara. And I will begin to prepare the reading. Now, let me see what the message in this reading is. I will begin to turn over the cards. Okay, now I will explain the layout. I have groups of 4 cards in this case. This is one message, this is one message, this is one message, and these 2 are additional wherever they apply in these cards. This is about the karmic load that you are carrying on 2 different major events or actions or consequences that you are dealing with in your life here. And this is maybe a hint on how to deal with them or what to deal with. So this is quite flexible in its interpretation, and these are as well. Now let me begin to see what we have in these cards. I will begin with these 4 cards here. I see the 6 of Swords, and this deck has different interpretations than what is usual. So this card is about idealism, and you can see this gnome on the mouse trying to slay that dragon. So this is about dealing with something you rather see gone in this world. And the Princess of Cups is a card that is very much about emotions, a rich emotional life, emotional expression, and how you deal with emotional issues. Probably it can mean some trouble regulating your emotions as well, being very sensitive in that regard. So what I see here is a very sensitive and ideal person with rich emotions that sometimes lead to rash actions or can be a bit overbearing in how they feel things should be. And in that process it is very well possible that you impede on the rights of others to let them figure out what works for them and how they want to live their life. We find also the 6 of Pentacles, meaning the treasure, and the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is also a new beginning, new emotional insights, the development of spiritual capacities, and the treasure. So this to me is rather positive karma. It could work out a bit problematic if you have trouble defining the boundaries of where you can decide over your own life and where the point starts that you are deciding about other people's lives. Even though I feel that whoever chose this Andara has a karmic load that makes you paranormal. I think you may have psychic abilities. At least you are very sensitive. You're possibly an empath, and you treasure that, and you should treasure that. Also, it doesn't make life easier, especially not in the world of today, where you are practically surrounded by dragons like this that you wish you could slay. That is not always possible, and therefore it's sometimes very difficult to hold on to your own sensitivity and your own psychic abilities in this world, because sometimes you get more than you bargained for. So this is quite positive karmic load. Whether this is from a past life, I feel it is from a past life, because usually these properties is something that one is born with. you are born sensitive or you are not born sensitive. So that is something you take with you at the moment of incarnation. So that is something, of course, that you also need in this incarnation. If you look at incarnating here in the same way as going on a holiday, you pack before you go on a holiday, and you pack according to your needs on the location, according to what you want to do. If you want to go swimming, you are not going to pack a ski outfit. So that is exactly what you do when you incarnate here. So whatever abilities you are born with are the abilities that you are meant to use in your life. There is a purpose for that. There is a reason that you came here with these abilities. So I would indeed treasure that. This is very beautiful aspect of your karmic load. Now let's see what we have on the other side. Yes, I see. We find the Prince of Wands, and the Prince of Wands, as is very clear in this picture, is very quick to action. He is very action oriented, wants to move forward quick, has a lot of energy, a lot of potential, and can be a bit unruly at times. But we find also the card of charity. This card is the Three of Swords, but in this deck it means charity. So it is about giving something of your own to someone else who needs it more. But this card tells me that you may be a bit too quick on doing that. So here is a lesson hidden. And that lesson is explained in these two cards, because we find the Ferrild, or what I would call Temperance, and we find the Hermit. Now these are two major arcanas, so there is really some very important karmic lesson for you here. And this is about, I could almost see this in two ways. Maybe the other cards can explain a bit more in detail, but this can mean either you are too quick to give of yourself and you give things that you might need yourself, and then your actions didn't really help someone. All your actions should be weighed on the scale of for the betterment for all and not at the expense of one, even if that one is yourself. So, and this card Temperance tells me that you need to slow down a bit, you need to conserve things. And the Hermit tells me that there is wisdom inside yourself that you can access if you find that balance between giving too much and giving too little of yourself. And also the Prince of Wands bears, in regard to these two cards, the message of regulating your energy. Don't give all in the first few moments, because you will find that you are lacking energy later on. And don't withhold too much or you will become frustrated. So there is this balance to be found, and I find that this card is very much hinting at that balance and the need to learn about that balance inside yourself. So you need to explore inside yourself, and I'm referring back to these two cards, your sensitivity, because your emotions are the guide for this. To give you an example, if you feel that you want to help someone but you feel you get cranky doing it, then you are giving more than at that point you can afford to give. And that is a hint, that is a pointer, and that deserves more introspection. So that you can find out, why am I getting cranky? What is the deal here? Why am I giving more then I want to give, even though I feel it isn't working for myself. And the other way around as well. Why do I know that I should be giving, and why don't I? What is behind that? So there is definitely some introspective work to be done, but you have all the gifts to do that. That is very clear. But your charity, your ability to be charitable and to give generously, is also an extremely good way of cleaning karma that is less than positive. I don't want to say negative karma, but anything that burdens you can be relieved by doing charity, and that is an excellent way of clearing some of your karmic burdens. Now let's see what we find here. This is also a very beautiful card, and again the theme of balance and introspection is coming up, so that is a very big theme here. And we find the King of Staves, and in this case it means the anger, the spite. And here we have the High Priestess and the Chariot. Now the High Priestess is about intuition, so we come back to this, the Cup cards, and your idealism and the treasuring of it, and also that the intuition and your psychic abilities need to be harnessed. That is something everyone with these properties has to deal with. They are your intuition and your emotions, they are unruly horses, and you need to work with them in such a way that you gain control over them. So when you're younger, you might find you get easily overloaded by all kinds of impressions from other people, like thoughts, emotions, physical pains and aches that you might feel, that can be very confusing because you have trouble figuring out where your boundaries are, and therefore you take on things that are not your own, and you might misinterpret that for your own issues. So there is definitely some skill building and training needed before you can utilize these gifts to the fullest. And the King of Staves or King of Wands also says that, but also I regard this one to the Prince of Wands, and especially if I look at these, this one is quite immature still, very young, very energetic, maybe even rash to action, and maybe rash to give, and then later on, when you settle down a bit, you look back at the situation, you might think, I'm not happy with what I did there, even though you at this point thought you were doing something good and you were giving charity. Then later you might find out that you harbor some anger or resentment towards the person that you helped, because you gave something of yourself and you possibly didn't receive anything back. And I can tell you up front that if you're older, you're already aware of this, you know this, but if you're younger, you don't know this yet, and you might think that people will answer your generosity with generosity of their own, and if you do that, if you think that, you will be disappointed. Because that's hardly ever the case. Mostly people think that they deserve righteously whatever you give them, and they don't even think about that it may have been charity, and that you also have the option to not give them that charity or help. These two cards, I don't find them very explanatory. Maybe they are addressing a different issue. These cards are in Dutch, so I will try to translate them. This is delete, remove, and erase. And it tells you to only use positive words and emotions and thoughts, because they will manifest themselves very quickly. And it also tells you to ask the angels to remove the effects of negative thoughts from the past. I now see where this is about. This relates to this spite card, that you may harbor regrets or resentments towards some people, and these feelings negatively manifest in your life, and that can create a downward spiral. That is the issue that you need to look out for. And this card speaks of a leap of faith. I think your incarnation here was a leap of faith, and possibly fueled by the idealism and the desire to be charitable in this life. So what I see here is someone with quite good karma, though you still have some lessons to learn about balancing boundaries, giving, taking, and giving freely without crossing your own boundaries, and then begin to feel resentment. That is something you really need to watch out for, because these feelings can, if you feed those feelings, then you might find out later in life that you've become bitter, and that your way of thinking has become negative, filled with disappointment, and that will prevent you from doing the things that you came here to do. So I hope this reading was clear for you and that you did get something out of it. If you like this video, please leave a like, share and comment. You can also become a patron and get access to an exclusive Facebook group and exclusive material and a discount on my personal readings. You may have noticed I am not using any ads on my videos, and I intend to keep it that way. So I will not be receiving any income from advertisements. So I do rely on your patronage and whatever you feel is appropriate in return for the work I do for you. You can of course also get a personal reading. You can contact me by my email address in the description box below. If you don't want that but still like to see more of my videos, you can subscribe and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. So I wish you an amazing day. Be blessed. Bye. Now for those of you who chose the Golden Andara, I will prepare your reading. So, this is your reading so far. I will turn over the cards, then I will explain the layout of this reading, and then I will go to the interpretation. Okay. I have laid out 2 sets of 4 cards in this upper row. They are sets, so I will interpret them as a set. They might regard, these are all all of these cards are your karmic load, and I've split them up in two major experiences or themes or consequences for you. So I will read them as a set, and these 4 cards are either an additional explanation to these cards, or they are what you still need to resolve karmically, and these 2 cards will give additional information about the entire reading. So let me see what we have here. We have the universe and we have the experience. Before I go to the interpretation, I will take these 2 in account as well. We find the King of Swords and we find the Knight of Cups, and this card is called the Seduction. Now what I see here is that you are a highly evolved being. You have completed a entire incarnational cyclus, if I say that correctly. So you've already been there, done that, you've seen and heard everything, and still you came back here to experience. That is very important. You are very much into the experience, and you are very much into the experience of love. That theme comes up later on as well, and that tells me that love, the expression, the physical expression of love, may have been one of the major reasons that you came back to incarnate here. You are definitely actively looking for love. You are figuring out ways to get there, to get the person you want, to get the love relationship you want. You are tactically approaching the situation, and then you pull out all of your charms and you go for it. That is exactly what you meant to do here, because you've learned all of your lessons. You've already reached the end goal of the incarnation cyclus, but still you want to experience. So your incarnation here is solely about experiencing love. And this card also reflects that. The Queen of Pentacles is very caring, very nurturing, very providing, always making sure that everyone's needs are met, being able to use the material realm in such a way that it is easy to fulfill everyone's needs. And you do that from a place of idealism. So it is also a very positive approach to your incarnation here. And again, we find the love theme. This time it is the Four of Pentacles combined with the Page of Cups, and in this card the Love card. Now this tells me that you regard love as the highest treasure, and I must say that is a lesson that you've learned in previous lives and decided to take that back into the earth, possibly because your idealism tells you this earth needs more love. So I think this is extremely beautiful. This tells me that you highly treasure love in itself, and you regard love as the highest law, which it is. So that is something that came from your previous incarnations, but still you can't get enough of the experience of love in this realm. So that is very beautiful, and it goes both ways. You experience love, and also you are able to give love to other people. So yeah, this is quite beautiful actually. Now what we see here, I feel there are some warnings here. First we find the Ace of Cups and we find the Moon. Now these two are both closely related because they're both water cards. So the Ace of Cups is about feelings, emotions, psychic abilities, and the Moon is also like that. But also the Moon harbors the possibility of deception. Not as much as someone is actually deceiving you, but more in the sense that things, and you probably know that because you are sensitive enough to have already experienced that when you go into this emotional realm, this spiritual realm, this realm of feelings and this realm of psychic impressions, things may look very different than they look in the physical world, and that can be very confusing. Someone in the physical world who looks like they've got it all together, if you look at them in a spiritual sense, you may see that it's only a facade to hide their iniquities. So that is something that you are being warned for. That is the trapping of this world that you've came to. And it also tells me that that is an insight that you might gain. We find the Page of Pentacles holding it up. It is, this card tells me it is about a loan, but I don't think it is about a physical loan in the sense of money, borrowing money. But this is more about your incarnation in this material realm is almost borrowing the properties of these physical realms in order to be able to express this higher love that we've seen come up in your karmic load. And you might come to an insight that when you arrive here, things are not always as they seem. So I must warn you that you may be that you may have to deal with some catastrophic relationships here in order to learn this aspect of how things in this material world can seem one way while they are different in the spiritual realm. I forgot to mention that I believe that the karmic load is not something that is either negative or bad or positive or good. The way you look at it is usually colored by your own choice of looking at it. You can see something as bad or you can see it as good. The thing is just as it is. An example of it is rain. You can go out in the rain and think, bleh, the rain, it's cold and wet and I don't like it and everything. But you can also look at it in a way that, wow, now I don't have to water all the plants in my garden, or it's good for nature, or finally these poor birds have something to drink again. So it's just how you view things that decides whether you perceive things as either bad or positive. Now, in a sense, this realm has been hijacked by not so positive forces, this material realm. And that is probably what you will learn. And most people that you know need love, as you can see from your way of psychic and sensitive perception, and your idealism tells me you want to nurture these people and you want to bring them the love and you want to treasure this love, but it may turn out to be a more daunting task than you think. Now if I go back to these cards, both of them together, they kind of give you the key. This card tells you to visualize success. Visualize that you have success in this situation and trust in a positive outcome. And then this card tells me that there is going to be an abundant harvest. So the outcome will be abundant and positive. As long as you visualize it, as long as you stay in the positive path and use all your efforts in a positive way and don't get taken aback by this insight that this material realm is heavy and loaded with all kinds of trauma and sometimes even downright evil things that are going on, that you want to heal, you want to bring love to the situation. Excuse me. You want to bring love to the situation, but things are not going to be ideal. And you find out that it's going to be more difficult than you expected it to be. But as long as you know that you can do it, and as long as you can visualize the positive results, you will radiate that, and other people will also pick up on that. So, and then you will in the end feel like the person in this card. I see this dove of peace flying above the earth, the colors of the rainbow coming from the flowers, and you are the one who is bringing that to the earth with your influence of love and nurturing and treasuring love. So I see the best of intentions, but still it may become a bumpy ride. Now, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you liked this video, please leave a like, share and comment. You can also become a patron and get access to an exclusive Facebook group and exclusive material and a discount on my personal readings. You may have noticed that I am not using advertisements on my videos, and I intend to keep it that way. So I will be relying on the generosity of my Patreons and the ones that like personal readings from me. If you want a personal reading, you can contact me. My email address is in the description box below. If you don't want that but still like to see more of my videos, you can subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I wish you an amazing day. Be blessed. Bye! Now, for those of you who chose the Blue Andara, I will prepare your reading. Okay, I've prepared your reading, as you can see. I will begin to turn over the cards and then I will explain the pattern that is laying out here. Yes, I can see what is going on here. Now let me explain this layout for you. I have laid out the upper row as your karmic load, and this is a more explanation about how to deal with your karmic load, or it is the things that you still need to resolve. And these two cards give additional information about the entire layout. I must add that when I was shuffling the decks for this reading, I felt very intense and very strong impressions, even up to the point that I was getting a little bit worked up in my stomach, feeling not very, very pleasant at all. There is something very, very heavy going on here. and that is also depicted in the cards here. These cards are laid out in groups of 4 cards. So this is an event, this is an event, and so I read them as a group and not as individual cards. Now we find the Tower and the Star. And I will go back to that when I have taken these 2 in account. We find Cernunnos, or what we regard as the devil, and the Ten of Cups, which is the holiday. This is about an incarnation that was possibly not entirely of free will, but more of the need to resolve more karma. That is what I get from these 2 cards. And that karma revolves this Cernunnos type, or in regular decks this would have been the devil. So there is this very heavy negative influence that needs to be resolved, and this negative influence feels to me like it may be attached to this person, and it may feel the incarnation in this place like a holiday. We find the High Priestess of the High Priest and the Knight of Cups, which is about seduction, and that chimes in perfectly with this card, because there is some heavy sense of erotic seduction going on, and it is mixed with spirituality. So this is I can imagine that most of you who pick this choice don't really want to hear this, but you may very well see the effects of this in your life, and I will get back to that later. I will first address this card. We have the Seven of Pentacles, which is about waiting, being patient, being waiting for the harvest, and we have the Ten of Wands, and this deck explains it as the suit, as a indictment in some way. So I feel very strongly that someone here is resolving a very heavy negative karmic load having to do with the mixing of spirituality and seduction and sexual impulses. This incarnation is an attempt to get rid of these influences. Whether you I feel that anyone who picked this choice feels like this influence in their life is still present, even though they don't want it there. So don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying you are an evil person and that you are in dark sexual ritual magic, but this influence somehow has crept in your life and is persistent there. It tries to find its way in there time after time until you face it, confront it, deal with it and resolve it. And I will take this card. It is a lonely card in this setup, but it is the card of hope. So not all hope is lost. You do have a chance to get out of this cycle. And I strongly feel this has to do with previous lives. This is being corroborated by this card. This is a Dutch card, but it says previous lives. So this is very much about something that you may have done in a previous life that kind of latched onto you and is still present with you in this life. But there is hope for you. You will be able to resolve this, but it won't happen just by itself. There is work to be done here. And I find these cards explaining that you have to make your mind clear and try not to have preconceived ideas about whatever you find on your way in life. The Ace of Swords tells me that you need to look at things in a new light. You need to look at things in a new way. And if you do that, so you are not prejudiced, and you will be able to see things in a new light, which will detach this influence from you, because this influence can perpetuate itself on certain energies that are being generated by your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions. We find also the card of Justice and the card of the Wheel, which means, again, not all hope is lost. I can't get it up. Not all hope is lost. You will be able to get justice, and also fortune is helping you with that. You're not alone in it, but you need to walk the right path. You need to look closely at your own actions. You need to make sure that whatever you do is rooted in righteous spirituality, not mixed in with these dark sexual, sensual influences. And that will possibly be able to break the situation, to break it open. This card speaks also of a breakthrough, but it can only be reached by non-prejudiced thinking. Detach yourself from whatever you see around you in your life, whatever these influences are. Detach yourself mentally. Don't judge them. As soon as you judge something, you stick your emotions on it like a post-it, so then as soon as you stick that emotional post-it on something, there is this emotional connection, and then it can gain influence over your life. So that is how these things work. And if you manage to get detached and look at it without any prejudice, look at it from a new sense of, a new approach of looking at it, make sure your own actions are very just, very righteous, very morally pure. You will find that you can set in motion this wheel. And at first it will be difficult, but once the wheel is beginning to move and turn, it will become more easy and easy, and this influence will exceedingly lose influence over your life. Now, these cards also tell me, again, this is about previous lives. This situation is based in one of your previous lives. Ask the angels to help you remember these experiences of your previous lives. Let them go. Detach yourself from them. Learn from it to become healed again. To become healed again. To become whole again. And this card tells me it's all about a breakthrough, and that is also what this card signifies. So by doing these things, by taking this advice to heart, you will be able to generate a breakthrough in order to deal with this remnant energy that somehow managed to attach itself to your essence when and it happened indeed in a previous life, and it came with you in this life, but you can't get rid of it. Although I must warn you, you probably are more aware of this than most people because of this situation, but this material realm is being ruled over by a malign influence, and that influence has a bit more influence over your life than most other people. So it is harder for you because it is feeling stronger because of the atmosphere here in this material realm. But you will be able to turn this around if you make sure your actions are following that narrow, righteous and just path. Weigh your actions carefully. Weigh your thoughts carefully. Get your emotions out of there. So stay rational. Detach yourself and stay rational. That is how you can get out of this. This is pretty heavy, and for all of you who chose this, you have taken upon yourself a very difficult task. But also I believe that it means that you are able to do it, and these cards tell me that you can. As I said in one of the previous readings, whenever you incarnate, you can look at it or compare it with going on a holiday. So before you go on a holiday, you pack your bags, and you pack your bags with the things that you know you are going to need when you are at your destination of your holiday. And that is exactly the same thing with incarnating. So you have abilities, you have the strength, and you have the necessary tools and abilities that you need in order to do this. So trust in that, because that will help you through this. And again, I cannot stress this enough. Get your emotions out of here. Stay rational. Do not judge. Do not be prejudiced. Don't attach any emotions to what you're seeing, because emotions is the way how these things can affect you and hold you in their grip. As long as your actions are righteous and truly, purely spiritual, you will be able to turn this situation around, and you will find fate on your side. Trust in that. Also, I feel that this card tells me that this situation is the harvest of a conflict in a previous life. Maybe you were cursed by someone, and that curse stuck with you in some way. I really wish you the very, very best, and again, if you need personal advice or more insight in this situation, you can contact me on my email address. It is in the description box below, because I can imagine that this situation, especially when you see this reading, it may seem more than you can handle. You must find the power and the strength in yourself. You do have all the attributes that you need to deal with this. But if you do need help or want more guidance, you can contact me for a private reading or advice, and I will gladly help you if you need it. And if you don't, I wish you the very best. I wish you wisdom, I wish you strength, and I wish you justice. And I really hope that you will be able to slay this situation and get it out of the sphere of influence in your life. And as you continue in your life, you will know when you've dealt with it. You will know it. So, if you like this video, please leave a like, share and comment. You can also become a Patreon and get access to an exclusive Facebook group and exclusive material and a discount on my personal readings. You may have noticed that I am not using any advertising on my channel, and I hope to keep it that way. It is my intention at least, but that also means that I rely on the generosity of my viewers. If you want a personal reading, you can contact me. My email address is in the description box below. If you don't want that but like to see more of my videos, you can subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I wish you a lot of strength, a lot of wisdom, and an amazing day. Be blessed. Bye. Now, for those of you who chose the Clear Andara, I will prepare your reading. Okay, these are the cards. I will turn them over and then I will explain the layout that we have here. Yeah, I see. Some of these cards were also present in the previous reading, but in this reading the context is entirely different. Now, I laid out 2 by 2 sets. So this is one set of cards, this is one set of cards, and this is one set of cards, and these 2 have additional information or explanation about the entire reading. This upper row is your karmic load, and this can be either advice on how to deal with it or things that you still need to resolve. I laid it out in such a way that this is one event or subject, and this is another event or subject. And well, let me see what we got here. At first we find the Prince of Pentacles and the Sun, which is, in my opinion, quite positive. I will take these 2 in account as well. We find the Career and Force or Strength. And what I definitely see, we have Pentacles here. Pentacles are an earth sign, very about stability, being able to provide, being responsible, being a bit conservative sometimes. The Sun is usually about positive things. Sun is the reason why plants grow, and the sun secures a harvest, but can also be a bit too hot. There can be too much of it as well. And we find the Career and Strength together, which means that somehow, and I will relate it to these cards, but there is this intention of starting a career that has to do with being able to provide and provide security in material sense. And it feels to me like there is a certain strength that needs to be developed through this career to be able to learn how to provide and make sure that the physical needs are met. Now, if I look at these two cards, we find the Four of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles, and in this deck the Ten of Pentacles means theft. And if I go to these two cards, we find the Two of Pentacles, which is the association or a business agreement, and we find the Seven of Swords, which is also sometimes about theft. Now, what do I see here? I feel that this is the reason why you incarnated, because of this. Something happened in your previous life. This card, it is Dutch, but it says previous lives. In your previous lives, you've had to deal with theft. Either you were the one that were the thief and used other people's abundance to get what you needed, or you may have betrayed a business associate in a previous life. Now, why do I think that you are the one that was doing the thieving? Because you need to learn the strength, you need to learn the strength in a career to provide for your own needs. So this is definitely a lesson that springs forth from some of your actions in a previous life. I suspect in a previous life you may have been poor and you may have felt the need to kind of swindle a bit, to do shady business deals, and you've duped a lot of people in the past. You have taken things that weren't yours to take, and you duped people. And that all came forth from your inability in this previous life to take care of your own physical needs. So that is what you've come to learn in this life here. You need to develop a certain kind of strength to be able to learn this and to deal with the challenges that come upon your path, because I suspect some of these things will repeat themselves in your life until you've developed the strength in yourself to overcome them by providing for yourself. Now we see here Cernunnos, which is in regular decks the devil, and we find the Six of Pentacles, and in this deck the Six of Pentacles means the treasure. So there is a great temptation whenever you see treasure. You're still dealing with this temptation, and that is why you need this strength. And in previous lives you probably weren't strong enough to resist this temptation, and therefore you did things that that resulted in this karmic load. What you need to learn is this. This is the Empress, and this is a Three of Swords, and in this deck it means charity. What you need to learn is that you can create your own abundance, even up to a point that you will be able to be charitable and that you will be able to give, and that will restore this negative karmic load that you've created. So that is your challenge in this life. You need to learn to provide for yourself. In previous lives you didn't learn that well enough to provide for yourself, and you did things that were morally questionable, and you need to set these things right in this life. And it turns out that you need to develop some aspects in yourself, namely the inner strength to build your own career, to build out your own life's path in order to provide for yourself. And you will be able to create that abundance. That is what this card tells me. you can create this abundance, and it will be even up to a point that you can be charitable. And I highly advise you to use this ability. Do give freely if you have accomplished a lot for yourself, because it will erase this negative karma. Now, as I already said, this situation is based upon one of your previous lives. You can ask the angels to help you remember the experience of your previous life and to let them go, to learn and to become whole again. That's exactly what you are trying to do in this incarnation. And this card also points out that you need to use your intuition. So, in order to get this, to do this, and to resist this, not to repeat this, you will have to listen to your intuition. And I explained this in other readings as well, and I will explain it again for you, that you can compare an incarnation to going on a vacation. Whenever you go on a vacation, before you go, you pack your bags and you bring with you things that you know you are going to need or use when you are at the destination of your holiday. So, in an incarnation, it's exactly the same way. Before you incarnate, you kind of pick and choose whatever it is that you need, and that will help you accomplish your goals while you are here. So, and your intuition is one of them, and it is one of the most powerful things. So I would say that you have a very strong intuition. And this card asks you to not ignore that. Use that to see through these temptations and to discern for yourself which is the right route for you to develop inner strength, which will help you in your career and will set you on the path of learning how to provide for yourself. And once you are there, you can use your abundance to clear this karma by use of charity. Don't take this up too heavy. When I was shuffling these cards, it felt very light. I don't think you've done major crimes, and I don't think this karmic load is extremely heavy in such a sense, but it is more that these experiences in your previous life brought to the surface that you need to develop certain aspects in yourself a bit more. And that is all you came to do. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you, especially not on actions in a previous life, because we've all done things. We all make mistakes, whether it is in a previous life or whether it is in this life. It's definitely in no way, shape or form a judgment or a negative judgment on whatever happened in your previous life. So, in a sense, we probably all made this mistake at some point through our journey through the incarnations. And some of us did learn this a bit quicker than others, and some of us did get this lesson earlier or later on in their development. So not to worry about this. This is why you are here to settle this, and this can set you on a path that you know that you need to resist this temptation that is around physical wealth and treasure, because I suspect you still feel that. You feel tempted. You think it's just there. I can take it. No one will notice. That little voice is still there, but you can counter that with your intuition, and that will build you the strength to be able to drive your own career, to set your own path, to be able to take care of yourself. And even it promises much abundance, even up to the point that you can be charitable to others who were in the situation that you were in your previous life. Man, I'm tearing up right now because of the beauty of how this works. That you can help people who are dealing with the same lesson that you were dealing with in a previous life. This is magnificent to see how this works out. I really think it's very, very beautiful, and especially don't ever look down upon yourself because of this. You came here to set this right, and that is noble in itself, and you have everything that you need to do it, as long as you are aware of these temptations, not to take them seriously, but to listen to your intuition, and you will be able to help other people that were in the same situation that you were in a previous life. I really think this is very, very beautiful. Well, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you liked this video, please leave a like, share and comment. You can also become a Patreon and get access to an exclusive Facebook group and exclusive material and a discount on my personal readings. You may have noticed that I don't make use of any advertisements on my channel, and I intend to keep it that way, but that also means that I rely solely on the generosity of my viewers. For a personal reading, you can contact me. My email address is in the description box below. If you don't want that but still like to see more of my videos, you can subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I wish you an amazing day. Be blessed. Bye.